What is up, everybody? It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe Show, the home of Epic Conversations, and I'm the host of Epic Conversations, 2018 Innovation Award winner, 2020 Best Podcast News Award winner given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. I also co-host and co-produce the only online show in the world for dads, fathers, and male caregivers that is sponsored by Dove Men Plus Care. And we have reached out directly and indirectly to over 400,000 dads, fathers, and male caregivers around the world since 2020. And as always, I'd like to say you're blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles, and a solution for someone's problem. And we're broadcasting on the first Saturday in August 2025. Yes, August has finally arrived. Where I live in the Greater Toronto area, July took a while to get going because the weather was so hot and everything just seemed to a standstill. Everything was just like slow. And if I'm sounding a little bit different today, I'm battling a little bit of a sinus cold. And how does Dr. Vibe get sinus colds? Air conditioning. So I'm not dressed properly in the air conditioning that we have here, and I get these sinus colds. So I've had it for about a day or so, but I'm fighting it. And I'm sure by the next time you see me live on Primetime Saturday with Aisha LaLa, I will be better. Pray for me that I'm better. But speaking about Primetime Saturday with Aisha LaLa, this is why you're here. You're not here for me. You're here for them. And they are here, as the old song says, right here, right now, done by Van Halen. They are here. What is going on, ladies?
Hi.
Well, what's not going on every week? It just gets worse and worse.
Well, you know what? And I'm dating myself a long time ago. There's a group, what's a group in the 80s? Well, was one guy named Ministry, and he has a song called Every Day is Halloween.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yes, every day. So I know I spoke to one or two people in America over the last week.
America.
What?
America.
There's no way. There's America.
Not in Maggie's America.
All right, ladies, as I always like to do these days, give me one win that you've had since we've last been on live together.
I mean lasagna.
What kind?
It's meat lasagna, but it's my husband's favorite recipe, so I made it for him in our brand new oven. Yay!
You mean it finally got you? What's going on? Is the kitchen? You've been on a massive project getting your stuff together, you and Will. What's been going on? Where's it stand right now?
Everything is good. I mean, we just doing our thing, working on some new music, and just celebrated our anniversary, and just we're right on path.
How was the anniversary day?
Oh, we had a good time. You know what, guys? Honestly, we did nothing but stay home and watch classic movies and listen to music and just really chilled out, like hardcore chill. So yeah, it was a beautiful day.
Oh, that's nice.
Did you watch any TV?
Oh my gosh, we started watching Game of Thrones again, but we also watched a whole bunch of 80s movies that we loved. Just haven't seen those in a long time. We're old school. We're sick of this streaming thing because when I want to watch something, I don't want to have to go dig for a certain one. So we pulled out DVDs.
Oh, what?
Nice.
What?
Yeah. Lots of them. So the Mac, we watched the Mac.
Oh my!
We watched Foxy Brown.
I love Foxy Brown.
What? Yes. And this weekend we're gonna watch Pootie Tang because that's one of my favorites.
I've never seen Pootie Tang.
Oh my God! Listen, I am hard to make laugh. I am not a comedy person, and I'm not that. So Pootie to make me laugh, that's some serious.
Wow, DVDs.
DVDs.
So we're gonna put it out there for people who are watching live or on the replay. How many people A have a DVD player still, and B, how many people have DVDs?
I do.
You do?
I still have VHSs.
Oh Lord. Oh, come on.
We did too.
And I still have a VHS player.
I have
Yes.
two, so I don't feel like I'm out in the wilderness. I have both.
Mhm.
Yes, I am. I don't know about y'all, but am I the only one? Like the streaming stuff is okay, but when you
Yeah.
really watch a movie that you want to watch, you can't find it anywhere.
Yeah. And up to 2000 and up until 2002, I still had a beta.
Wow.
Ooh, Aisha, a lot of people don't even know what that is.
Yeah, because we started out with a beta when I was like in the 80s. We started out with a beta because my mom had gotten a grant when she was teaching high school in the 80s to get a beta player.
Wow.
And we started recording the Cosby Show on
Oh.
beta.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Wow. Well, and I think I may have mentioned this before, but one of the things I periodically look, I've got a whole bunch of DVDs. I say, should I throw them out? Should I
No.
throw them out?
No.
No.
Yep,
Okay.
I still have my VHS tapes of the Prince videos I recorded when I was in middle school and high school.
Well, I
Yeah,
need to
don't do that.
I need to hire someone to go through because I've got VHS stuff from way back.
Mm-hmm.
Way back. Like I know on VHS somewhere I have a number of Arsenio Hall shows.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. See, those
Oh.
are great.
And one of the things, okay, so let's go here. Regina Fries is in the Regina, you are early today. Good to see you. La la lasagna. I like that.
I love it.
He also says Foxy Brown is amazing. The acting and plot are amazing, but the sets and musics, sets are 5 stars. I have the DVD, the VHS, cassette player, boombox, and CD player.
Yeah.
Record player, of course.
I saw it. Yep.
And she goes, betas are on point.
Yep. Let me tell you, I love the blaxploitation films. Like my daughter and I've introduced them to my daughter. One of the last ones we watched was the one that Melvin Van Peebles wrote and directed. Don't Play Us Cheap.
Right. Wow.
Yeah. My win this week.
Yeah, give me a win.
I learned finally that I have been diagnosed with IBS.
But now that you've been diagnosed, they can give you solutions.
Yes. After 10 years of dealing with stomach issues, I know what my stomach issue is.
Wow.
And the medication works.
Huge.
Well,
yes.
I'm glad for that victory. I was going to say congratulations, but I'm going to say that victory. That is a victory.
Yes.
At least now you know what you're
yes.
dealing with.
I finally found a doctor that listens to me. And I mean, it was the most.
One that canceled and you got back in?
No, it wasn't even one that canceled. It was me getting frustrated enough with the doctors around here that I went to another city, to the ER in another city. The ER doctor listened and then referred me to a digestive diseases doctor who said, I'll schedule you for the first week of September, but I will call you if there's a cancellation. Called me the next day for a cancellation. Called me the next day for a cancellation on Wednesday.
Right.
Saw me Wednesday and said, I looked at all your stuff. Do you know that somebody diagnosed you in 2022 and never told you?
Oh, wow.
What?
And I concur. And here's what it is. Here's the medicine. This is what you need to do. And I'm going to schedule you for another test just to be sure. Oh, just go downstairs. They'll schedule you for a test. You don't have to wait months. You can get this test done on next Monday, and we're done. And I'll see you after that. And that's it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Woo. Well,
see, that's why it's so important to find a doctor that listens to you.
Yeah.
Well, hey, that's so key. Regina says, good to hear. Hopefully the end of suffering for good, Aisha.
Yes. Huge. I mean, for me, it was like, I mean, it's hard to get a doctor to listen to you when you're female, but when you're Black and female, it's even harder. They just think that it's like they literally sit like, oh, and then there's an arrogance. And I have to be very clear about something. the hospital and medical services that have a monopoly in my area is Yale, and they're affiliated with the university. So you have to understand that there is a certain level of arrogance of the people who work there because they're affiliated with the university. And I had one doctor there 2 weeks ago who I saw, and she said to me, "So why are you here to see me?" And I'm like, "Well, because this is going on." And, "Well, why aren't you taking peppermint oil?" Well, nobody ever told me that, but also too because I'm allergic. Because I'm allergic.
Oh boy.
Did you not read that in my chart? And I
Oh,
told her, I had to tell her, you know what? I'm ending this visit right now because you're being disrespectful, dismissive, and condescending. And then I called my PCP and said, hey, this is the doctor you referred me to, and this is what she did and what she said.
well, it's interesting. You opened up with this part of the conversation of saying the monopoly.
Mhm.
Right there, monopoly in healthcare system gets me
Mhm.
really cringy.
Yeah, which is why I had to go up to Hartford, which is where the capital city is.
Yep.
35 minutes away.
Yep. So
Hartford Healthcare is in the Hartford section, and then there's also Trinity Healthcare. So I went to Trinity, and that's where that happened. But also, too, guess what? My daughter got her first postgraduate job at Hartford Children's Hospital.
Nice.
That's lovely.
Yes, as a dietary technician. She studied to be a dietitian, so she's got her first job in the field in the infant room.
I have a feeling that she will have at her choice, she will have a long career.
I am so proud of her.
You know, and Regina says, "Is there a Black Women's Health Bible, Aisha?
Ooh.
If not, you could spearhead putting one together." Whoa, together.
You know what? There is one, but there hasn't been one that's been updated recently. And I think that there should be one. That there should be a digital one where we can really connect resources. Because I think that the issue is being taken seriously by health practitioners. For example, when I went to go get a therapist, right? One of the things that I did on psychology, I was told to go look at Psychology Today to find a therapist. And I put in there that I wanted someone who's a Black female, who is around my age, Gen X, who specialized in PTSD and sexual trauma.
Well, you know what?
It kicked out 5. They all happen to work for the same practice, though. So those are things that, I think that there should be some kind of digital thing.
Yeah, I just did a quick look online. There's no such thing existing.
Yeah.
So, Enlightened Beings, good to have you here, says hello, family. Regina says, okay, wait, there's a Black women's wellness guide.
There's a wellness guide, but not a Bible of resources. And I think that's what's needed. I think like what Psychology Today has for you to be able to filter out and find someone to match with. I think there needs to be that kind of thing online where you can find a healthcare practitioner, an OBGYN, a therapist, a digestive diseases person, a cardiac doctor, a cardiac specialist, an endocrinologist. I also had to see an endocrinologist. I mean, when I went to the ER that day, he sent me up with the digestive diseases doctor, an endocrinologist. The endocrinologist saw me the next day, and she said, "Oh, I looked at all these things." She said, your A1C is fine. There's nothing with diabetes that I need to look at. But just on a side, your pancreatic functioning is a little low. Your enzymes are a little low. So make sure you mention that to the digestive diseases doctor when you go. And I was like, oh, nice. And the ER doctor also said, hey, by the way, found a fibroid in your uterus that's about this big. Tell your gynecologist. Had a gynecology appointment this week, told her, she said, oh, thank you. I was like, oh my God, they all talk to each other.
Like a well-oiled machine this time.
Exactly. I told the gynecologist, oh, she said, guess what? She said, it's small enough that the HRT you're on will make it shrink. You're not in danger. I was like, oh my God, are you kidding me? Everybody talked to everybody and made the notes. Everybody was on one thing. It felt so good. But with Yale, I have to constantly follow up with.
Okay. All right.
That was my win. My health.
That is a big win. Free Wills in the house says, hello, good to see you here. Regina says there are also treatments that don't work too well on Black women, like breast cancer.
Yes, there is a blood pressure medication that I was on that Black women have been talking about, that they were having very bad side effects. You know what I did? I called my PCP, saw him this week, told him about it, said I want a different one. He said, why? I told him why. He said, okay, no problem. Let's get you a different one.
Wow.
Yeah.
I hope that that's going to happen for me, because it's time for me. This month is put LaLa on the rest month. She got to go get everything done.
But you know what, though? There is nothing like making sure your health is straight.
Your health is your wealth. Look, even up to this week, I went to my doctor. And people know who's been around. I go to my doctor every month.
I really love that for you, Dr. Vibe.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, believe me. And I've had the same doctor for at least 20 years. And on top of it, he's the same doctor my dad has. So a lot of the diseases had that run in our family, he's already on radar if anything possibly comes up with that. But I like I said, when I go into the doctor's office, first thing I do is book my next appointment. Even before I see him, I book my next appointment.
I had 10 doctor's appointments in the last 2 weeks, and I can't tell you, I feel so good that I know everything now.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. We got to take a break, but you know what? This down the line, we should have about a conversation about Black women's health.
We should. Yes, let's do that and invite Dr. Tachi.
Yes. Have a round table of like the pros, the cons, and what needs for, because that, like Regina, that suggestion about having a Black women's wellness guide, I looked online quickly. Nothing exists. So there's an opportunity there.
Yeah.
There's an opportunity there. So Regina says Sloan Kettering was doing outreach for Black women patients 2 years ago. Also, Life Being says our community struggles with right healthcare. Absolutely. Yeah. Free Will says haven't seen Aisha in a while. And he also says all good, Dr. Vibe. All right, we're cutting it there. We're going to go for 3 seconds. We'll do some house cleaning. And we got 2 subjects, but they're more than enough for today's conversation. So we'll be back in 30 seconds. Black Men Can Talk, a show where Black Canadian men come together to have real, unfiltered conversations about life, culture, and community.
The doctor, Professor Chevy X.
Because people always say indigenous people don't exist in the Caribbean. I was speaking to my indigenous friend from the Caribbean like 3-4 hours ago. I think it'll be very interesting to see, how things unfold in Canada. And I think the way we need to combat that is through collective struggle.
Master.
We got a master class tonight. We are back on Primetime Saturday with Aisha LaLa on August 2nd, 2025. And always looking to improve. So Dr. Vibe is using a new microphone today. So
which one?
Do you want to see it?
You know I'm a tech geek. I gotta know. Oh, that's nice.
The Shure SM7B. Sort of like the industry standard for broadcasters, which I'd had hanging around for. I said, let me hook that thing up. So this is, I guess, part of a 2-part process that myself and producer Matt are working on. So this is part 1. We're working on part 2. The part 2, we ain't telling anybody except myself and producer Matt. And when I'm speaking, we're going to launch it. When we launch it, not only are Aisha and LaLa going to be going, ow, but it's also, I'll just say it provides an opportunity for increased live engagement. I'm just going to leave it at that.
Nice.
and Crease, we're just going to work it out. And I'm fighting with the people who manufacture this hardware software about this, but that's a whole other question. Well, okay, you know what? I'm going to have a quick rant. I'm in Canada. This company I'm dealing with makes products that are distributed worldwide. Why do they not
They've
have
got to be in the US, I guess.
why do they not have a toll-free North American number? Like,
Because that's
they in the
good old
US?
American way.
yeah, you know, like doing back and forth via chat. And actually, in order to get this next step to work, they've told me, oh, send a video of what's wrong. I'm going, and it's sort of bad too, because Skype doesn't exist anymore. When I had Skype,
Right.
I could call Skype because for $2.99 a month, I could call anywhere in North America, any phone
Right.
number in America. Doesn't exist anymore. And I know they've gone to Microsoft Teams, and you may have to pay for that subscription. So I'm rather deal with over phone. But when this thing gets worked out, Aisha LaLa gonna like it, and the audience is gonna like it because producer Matt and I like it. So if producer Matt and I like it, I think you're gonna like it. All right, Girlfriends Chat with Aisha LaLa and Jill Jones. Patreon, Substack. I'm having lots of fun on Substack and having lots of fun following LaLa on Substack, by the way. Primetime Saturday store. They got their products going on. And then join Primetime Saturday with Aisha and LaLa Discord group. Email me at dr.vib at the drvibeshow.com, or click on the link you see on the screen. It'll also be in your comments section. And subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube. Hit the notification button. Also follow me on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky, and Substack. And if you want to advertise your business, product, or service on any of the platforms that I'm on, email me. Also, don't forget Indie Soup TV, which is powered by Dr. Tachi. And we may see Dr. Tachi next week because Aisha will not be available. So I'm going to put the call out to Dr. Tachi. See if she has time from her Indie Soup Massive, which is independent content creators, and a YouTube channel has about 28,000 subscribers in about 18 months. And before we get to it, comment sections. Free Will says, doctors must be better for Black women health than American. Oh, Canadian doctors must be better than for Black women health than Americans do. I believe they probably are. And
I don't think you're wrong about that. Nope.
Well, American doctors used to experiment on Black women without anesthesia. So,
all right.
There
And
you
Lighten
go.
Beans, Lighten Beans must have her popcorn ready. Boy, this week's talk's going to be crazy. But to be honest, which week hasn't been?
right?
Roller coaster ride.
Oh yeah. Free Will says, nice. Free Will says, Aisha, I appreciate you accepting my apologies when I was misunderstood. Okay. And says, it's always good to see this panel. Right back at you. We were debating among which one of these two stories to chat about first, but we have made a decision, and this is what we're going to talk about first. 47 fires labor statistics boss hours after the release of weak jobs report.
Okay, so let me start.
Oh gosh.
Because I was in the car driving back and taking my daughter to work when I heard this on the radio, right? And the first thing out of my mouth was, this is because you can't get mad when you run your mouth and you tell a lie before the real data comes out. Let's be very, very clear. The day a month ends, it's a projection. It is a projection of what that data is. When the real numbers come back in at the end of the month, at the end of the next month, that is the real information. Now, what they account for, okay, it's an estimate. What they account for are the jobs that were lost, the jobs that were gained, hirings, firings, people quitting, all of that. And they take that and they like, oh, plus, minus. It's like with any budget. It's like accounts payable. It's like with anything at the end of the month. You know, you have, this is what's happened. He overshot his shot. And then they came out with the number. He talks too much. But here is the big thing. You can't expect to go to Home Depots, restaurants, hotels, rounding up people at their freaking jobs, taking them away from their work, putting them in concentration camps, and then expecting the jobs to still be filled. That's where the numbers are coming from. Let's be perfectly honest. That's where the numbers are coming from. This man thought that when they removed those people, that other people were going to go fill those jobs. This is the result of his own sloppy policies.
I can't. He did this on. He did this to himself.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
once again, he's going to blame everybody else.
He's blaming
If
Biden right
someone
now.
disagrees with him, if somebody acts like, he feels like they're making him look like what he is, then he will fire them, period. And that's just the way that it is. This is nothing new. He did this type of crap in the first administration he was in, and he's going to continue to do it. So to me, this ain't news. This is not news. You're the one who's taking these people off of the streets and making them disappear. You're going to their jobs. You're starting everywhere. And the top, and you're also going after the kids, okay? Because 2 elementary schools in Los Angeles were attacked this week. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think is going to happen? You're taking all of the workers. This is nothing.
And he fires this woman because she won't lie. Let's be very clear. He fired her because she won't lie.
She won't lie. That was the whole thing.
And let me tell you something. She is going to have a great lawsuit. Because you can't fire somebody for not lying.
Add it to the pile of lawsuits we're dealing with.
Right. And you want to talk about waste, fraud, and abuse? They are paying 150,000 employees for not working.
And building a 200, how much was it? 200 something?
$200 million ballroom. $200 million. Where's the money coming from? Because here's the thing: if we gotta cut Medicaid, SNAP, Medicare, Social Security because we're so broke, where do we have $200 million to make a ballroom and $1 billion to retrofit a $400 million plane
that got leaked? Y'all, everything that they're trying to hide, they're hiding. They're trying to hide all of this.
And let's not forget the how many billion, was it $10 billion to hire bounty hunters for ICE? I told y'all those are bounty hunters. They're now hiring contractors. What is it?
But the bounty hunters, actually, there was a lot of bounty hunters that actually came out and spoke out about this. It's like, y'all do know that they are hiring us, right?
Yep, I told y'all.
We want y'all to know that this is now, they're giving us bonuses. And if you don't think that we're going to go for it, we're going for it.
Somebody on Blue Sky told me, oh, they're not bounty hunters, they're ICE agents. I was like, those are bounty hunters. I know a bounty hunter when I see one, because here's the thing. Bounty hunters are the only people who, when you tell them, where's your warrant, will leave. But they don't get no warrant.
All right.
A real ICE agent, a real FBI agent is going to come with a warrant.
Okay.
That's why they get chased off so easily. When people come together and they stand against them, this is why they walk off so easily.
Mm-hmm.
All right. For those who are not familiar with this, I'll read a little bit. It's from the NBC News website. Headline: 47 fires labor statistics boss hours after the release of weak jobs report. Subheadline: without evidence, 47 called the data, quote, rigged, unquote, and implied that the BLS commissioner Erica McArthur manipulated the numbers, quote, for political purposes, unquote. President 47 on yesterday, when we're recording this, yesterday being Friday, today being Saturday, on Friday ordered the firing of the head of the Bureau of Labor Statistics hours after a stunning government report showing that the hiring had slowed down significantly over the past 3 months. Taking a True Social, he attacked Erica McIntyre. If I get the name wrong, it's my head, not my heart. The commissioner of the BLS, the Bureau of Labor Statistics. He claimed that the company's job reports, quote, are being produced by a Biden appointee, unquote, and ordered his administration to terminate her. Quote, we need accurate job numbers, unquote, 47 wrote. Quote, she will be replaced with someone much more competent and qualified. Important numbers like this must be fair and accurate. They can't be manipulated for political purposes, unquote. He intensified his report, his attack. He intensified his attack in a later post, writing, quote, in my opinion, today's job numbers were, in capital letters, he has the word rigged, in order to make the Republicans and me look bad, unquote. He didn't cite any evidence for his claim. The BLS on Friday morning reported the U.S. economy added just 73,000 jobs this past July, well below estimates. It also said it had revised the May and June numbers, and they turned out to be lower than the previously announced by more than 200,000 jobs. Administrative official told NBC that MacArthur had indeed been fired. The firing sent shockwaves through Washington, which has already been rattled by waves of terminations through the nearly 7 months of Trump's 47's second administration. Quote, President 47 is once again destroying the credibility of our government by firing expert and nonpartisan officials because he does not like the facts that they present, unquote, said Max Stier, the CEO of Nonpartisan Partnership for Public Service. Quote, governments go down this path and find themselves in ugly territory very quickly. The Deputy Commissioner of BLS, Bill Wiatrowski, who took up the role during the Obama administration, will become the acting chief, quote, during the search for a replacement, unquote, Labor Secretary Lori Chavez de Riemer said. Judas Hath Maxwell, the official who oversees the office that produced the unemployment report, joined the agency during 47's first term.
Let me say this.
Okay. And the funny thing is, just one other thing. This lady, MacArthur, in July 23, and was nominated and was confirmed by the Senate in an 86-8 vote, with 6 members not voting in January 2024. She received overwhelming bipartisan support in the vote. Vice President J.D. Vance was among the Republicans who voted to confirm her. Go ahead.
Let me see this. As someone who taught research and statistics, opinion is not fact. His opinion is not a fact. The facts bear it out. And here's the embarrassing part for him. The estimates were in the 100,000s. So reality was in the 10,000s. That he's embarrassed, period. If his immigration plans weren't so aggressive, these numbers wouldn't be so dire. It is a mistake of his own making, and rather than taking responsibility, he's going to push this off on someone else. There is a remedy for this. And guess what? If his communications person was a communications person worth her salt, as I am, she would have said, we expected this kind of number because when you are doing a deportation plan as aggressive as ours, you expect this. This isn't a bad thing. This is what we expected. But she's an idiot, and she doesn't know how to handle her job. They're all idiots. None of them know how to do their jobs. So yeah, so but guess what? Expect more of this, because guess what? It's going to get worse. Why? The tariffs went into effect yesterday. Companies are going to start laying people off. The closer we get to the holidays, it's going to get worse.
Magic words.
It's going to get worse. So
magic words.
Yeah.
Holiday.
He does look. None of them know what they're doing. He doesn't know what he's doing. It's going to get worse. And I love this for him. I like, you know what? I love it for him. Keep going. See, I told y'all this was going to be a short conversation.
I told
So
you.
I got some more. I got some questions for you, ladies. You think I'm
Okay.
gonna let? I'm not gonna
Well,
let
we
you.
got answers for you.
The
Okay.
answer's gonna be short though. The answer's gonna be short, Dr. Bob, though.
Okay. How unusual is it for such a high-profile official to be fired so soon after a major economic report?
It's
It
highly
is.
unusual.
It is unusual, but with him, it's not. This is what he does.
We're
Remember, in
talking
his
about Trump.
yeah, he did this in his first term. Remember the turnover in his first term. In his first term, he fired over 200 people. This term, the only difference between that term and this term is that in his first 100 days, he fired like what 80 people. This term, he just waited after the 100 days. He didn't want to have it. He didn't want to have it. The talk being, oh my God, there's such high turnover within the first 100 days. The next high-profile person to go is Pete Hegseth. That's why he's talking now about running for what governor of Tennessee. Is that what he's talking about?
Yep.
Mhm.
Okay.
And here's the thing. I wish we had instant replays every time the shit that me and Aisha tell you is going to happens, because we tell you long ahead of time. But you know, all the smoke screens that being put out there, we're bringing you what we know up front early.
I done said Pete
Mark it down.
Hegseth was on his way out. I said that he's gonna be one of the first major ones to go.
Yep, sure did.
All right.
And then in the paper yesterday, it was that he's looking to run for governor of Tennessee.
I heard that. Okay, let's catch up on comments because they've been flying in as per usual. Enlightened Being says he fires everybody who he thinks makes him look stupid.
And the only person making him look stupid is himself.
Yep.
Free Will says, are we talking about POTUS? Who else? Regina says, did anyone ever believe the jobs reports for the last 3 months?
Nope.
Not me. Not after Doge cuts, tariff madness, healthcare / VA cuts, ICE attacks. Come on.
Right. And that's the other part that we forgot too. The Doge cuts get factored into those job numbers too.
Exactly.
Right. And she says, 47 can hide the truth, but he will try. Free Will says, Aisha ain't playing. Well, most of the time she ain't. I don't know if you've been away. You need to come back and reconnect yourself. Enlightened Being says he created this mess, but it is everyone else's fault.
Right.
And she goes, Free Will goes, right, LaLa. And he also says, let me put some laughter. Yes, quote, they, unquote, hiding. Free Will says, beautiful presentation, Dr. Vibe. Regina says the lady that got fired has over 20 years as a professional economist. Enlightened Being says, in other words, cue the smoke machine. And Free Will says, 47 doesn't know what he's doing. Okay. And 47, I don't know. Regina says 47 administration is a catalog of incompetence, period. And Free Will says, I live in the America under Felon 47. And she is finally here. Fan number 1.
Jen.
Yes.
Oh, Jen.
And Free Will says, I am an FBA. Okay. Another question for you ladies.
Mm-hmm.
Why is the independence of the government statistical agencies important?
Because we end up with an idiot like this who tries to manipulate the numbers. The thing is that you want honest, independent information. That's why a free.
Hold on. Can I interrupt for a minute? Can I have a question? You just said an oxymoron.
What?
Honest and 47. Continue.
Oh no, I didn't say I didn't mean him being honest. I said you want an honest and fair number, an honest and independent number, just like you want an honest and independent.
Honesty at 47.
Well, no, but you want an honest and independent media too. But we also don't have that under him.
True.
We have nothing. You want honest and independent institutions, honest and independent organizations. We have none of that under him because he's threatening everybody and everything. We're not walking into authoritarianism anymore. Let me be very clear with people.
Thank you.
We're here. Kamala Harris said something very, 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 very important when she was on Colbert the other night. She said, yes, I predicted everything that he was going to do, but I did not predict the capitulation. And that is very true, because even on this show, we predicted everything that he was going to do. We did not predict the capitulation. I never thought that people would surrender this quickly, this easily, this readily.
This fast. We are
It's-
6 months
it's-
in.
I mean, yes, this fast, this easily, this willing. And here's the thing about it. But people and the organizations that are just giving up, surrendering, they are making the gamble that they'll be able to go back easily. They won't. That's the thing. You're not going to be able to, because the moment you give an inch, that bully's going to take a mile. And here's my, like, for example, I need Harvard to explain to me this. Why are you going to settle with this man by giving him $500 million to get the $500 million he cut? Why not just take the $500 million you would give him to replace what he cut? Make it make sense. It makes no sense. Especially when you're out here bragging that you got a $50 billion endowment. It makes no sense.
But that's the whole thing. Nothing makes sense, because this is the kind of regime that we're under. Whatever he gets up and says he wants to ruin that day, or whatever he gets up and he finds out that he needs to cover up, that is the roller coaster that we take every day. So nothing ever makes sense, because nothing makes sense in his mind. Period.
But here is the one bright light in this. All these institutions and the organizations that are bending are in for a very rude awakening. The thing is that they think that we'll just go along to get along right now, but when he's out, we'll come back and everybody will come back to us. No. For example, these media organizations don't realize that they will never come back from this, because people are going to independent media like never before. Does CBS, ABC, do they think they're going to come back? No. Midas Touch, Brian Tyler Cohen, all these independent media.
Baby, I go there first.
They have filled a void. Us, we're filling a void that, you know what? We might be smaller than some of these other ones, but we're filling a void. And let me tell you something. We got 3.5 years. We got 3.5 years to talk.
Telling the truth. We got 3.5 years to keep calling out his.
And people look, we got 3.5 years. Everybody else can keep bowing. We're not gonna keep bowing, and people will come. People will come, and we got a dedicated audience. Y'all can spread the word. Because here's the thing. It's gonna be the truth tellers. It's gonna be the truth tellers that are going to be the ones who, in this moment, are gonna capture it. These people, these institutions. Let me tell you something. The Columbias, the Harvards. You might be the Ivy Leagues, but guess what? Your enrollments are gonna quickly go down. I'm concerned about. I'm going back to school in the fall. My daughter finishes her master's at the end of this month, but is going back for a master's in public health. And they just fired half of the Department of Education staff in the same month that college kids go back to school.
Yeah.
What could possibly go wrong when students need to get their financial aid stuff straight?
Exactly.
And they have no contingency plan on who's going to manage any of the federal student loan and student aid stuff.
Right. I've heard that.
There is chaos. It's like you can't just fire these people with no plan. And see, this is the problem. They are firing people with no plan. They're cutting things with no plan.
But it's The
And the
Apprentice.
people who are left are extremely overworked.
Yeah. Yeah.
But because the plan, but see, there's no plan because the plan is to take all the immigrants away. Have no plan for the college kids to get their financial aid, so they can't go to college, and they will have to take the jobs for the immigrants. And the only people who can afford to go to college are the children of the wealthy. And they want to further stratify. This is what we learn in sociology. It's called stratification. They want to further stratify society and create and solidify this caste system. If you ever read Isabel Wilkinson's book Caste, this is what she's talking about. Create this caste system of there are certain jobs for certain people in society. And in this society, wealth and jobs, white collar jobs and wealth are reserved for white men. Period. And white women are to only be their wives, to birth their babies,
And
to
run the
create
house
the next generation
or run the
of white
maids.
men
Don't
who will
forget
take
that part, Aisha.
white male babies who will take over those jobs and birth the white female babies who will marry those white men to produce more white male babies and white girl babies who will continue to birth on and on and on. And our children will and we will continue to birth the children that will work for them. That's it.
All
Period.
right. More comments. Regina says Jerome Powell correcting 47's info regarding building
Let me
costs.
tell you something. That was the best thing that happened last week.
It was.
When he told him to his face, you added an extra building.
That's hilarious.
So speaking,
I was there for it.
so here's a question for both of you. Actually, I'm actually gonna put for people who are on YouTube right now, if you are watching, put your comments in. I'm gonna get a screen to start sharing them out with everybody. But for both ladies, will Jerome Powell get fired before the end of his term?
Yes, because he won't
Who?
follow in line.
Jerome Powell?
Yeah.
Jerome Powell.
Will he fire him
won't
before
follow
the end of his
line,
term?
so it's not gonna make
Honestly, no. And the reason I say no is because is because this. Next month, when people start to go buying their things for the prices, the prices are gonna be sky high. He's not gonna want Jerome Powell to lower the things because that's gonna cause the prices to go even higher. And so yeah. That one guy that got in his ear about Jerome Powell. But here's the thing, but I don't think he's gonna fire him this year. You know what I think he'll fire him? The month before Jerome Powell's supposed to leave anyway. Just because he wants to be right. And Jerome
because
Powell
he's
be like,
all about cruelty. He's all about cruelty.
Right. So I don't think he's gonna fire him anytime soon. He'll wait till like the week or two before Jerome Powell's supposed to leave. And Jerome Powell will be like, well, yeah, my term was up anyway.
All right. So Free Will has a comment here. I heard her manipulation is the media game under Felon 47. So he's dodging his destiny. Free Will says my comments in no way influence Canada. Don't worry, we haven't signed a tariff agreement, so we're not being influenced. Free Will also says we will be paying for air at 20-ish under his administration. Free Will says Aisha know what she's talking about. Well, she always does. That's not new. Free Will says, and then educate lawyers to agree with the position. And look who's here, Cinema Canela. Good to hear you. Good to hear you. So then how does this firing affect public confidence in government reported data?
The thing is that it doesn't, because because public confidence
is already down.
It's already down. Put it this way, on both sides.
You're not a part of the cult. Now let's distinguish.
No,
We
no,
gotta
no,
always
no,
distinguish.
because remember, the cult is still having low public confidence in him over the Epstein stuff.
Not the
He-
diehards. There are still some that are still saying that
there's
all of this.
there's still some, but there was a poll that Reuters did. Remember, Reuters is is on right, and they did it. It's the confidence in him is at 37% on his side.
Good. I'm here for it.
Right.
But I'm just tired that we got to be dragged down with it.
So the thing of it is that he here's what I know for sure. And I know this because I am a communications person. His people aren't telling him the truth. They are manipulating whatever it is they're showing him. The emperor has no clothes, because if they were to tell him the truth, sir, your stuff is saying 37%. Because if they were telling him the truth, he would not be out there, was it Thursday, saying grocery prices are way down. Because that day, it came out that meat was up 11.8%.
Which is higher than most minimum wage
Yes.
people are making right now.
Yes. He's like, grocery prices are way down. Gas prices are under $2. Somebody needs to tell him that gas prices in no part of the country are under $2.
Well, Aisha,
Stop
I think
saying
the
it.
whole thing is it doesn't matter what people tell him. He's still going to continue to spout the lies. We are dealing with a madman. He has mental issues. He's a narcissist. He's a liar. He's a con man.
And his hands are gross. Have you seen his hands? What the is going on with that? Let me tell you something. I was reading something somewhere, and let me say this. I just got to say this part too. What the heck is wrong with these resistors? I need to.
Woosah.
You can do all the posts you want on social media saying he needs to go. Let's impeach him. He needs to go. Who the hell do you think is behind him? They're worse. So what? He goes. A Democrat is not going to come behind him. JD Vance is right behind him. And let me tell you something. Peter Thiel is in his ear.
Oh, baby.
Behind JD Vance is Mike. Look, behind JD Vance is Mike Johnson. And I keep forgetting the order, but eventually it is Pete Hegseth. It is Kristi Noem. It is Marco Rubio. It is Tulsi Gabbard. Eventually it's Linda McMahon. It gets worse and worse and worse and worse. There is no Democrat in the line of secession.
We told y'all
Eventually Pam Bondi. There is no Democrat in the line of secession. Please stop being so stupid. I mean, I hate saying this, but honestly, God, we kind of need this guy to stay alive.
Do I have my?
And that it's a catch-22.
I'm telling you, because right now I'm at a toss up with the daggone coin.
Because guess what? Eventually it gets to Stephen Miller. We need this man to stay alive, unfortunately.
LaLa, anything you want to add, LaLa?
I think this was the plan all along, but Aisha and I had said that. Yes, we do need him to be the pawn that he is, because that's what they want. They want the power. The real power is behind the curtain. They want this loud person to do all this smoke screening for them while they're doing all of the dirty work behind the screen, so that they can always turn around later and say, see, it's him. It was him, right? So that's part of it. That's a part of what's going on. But the other part is it's all falling into their plan. Now, a part of the plan, in my opinion, is that at sooner or later, he's going to not be worth their time anymore. This is why they chose JD Vance. because that's who they are really going to be able to pull all the puppet strings, because he's just dumb as a pile of rocks. And he will do anything, and he doesn't have the mouth to do it. If you've ever noticed, if you ever noticed, anytime something that really goes down and he's in a room of powerful people, he's that one pup that goes, yeah, see, I told you that, and that's the only time that he feels like he can ever say anything. That's how dumb he is. But
there's something else about JD Vance too.
People are behind him. So this is a plan. I will not be surprised if the orange one gets the boot somewhere along the way. And then we are stuck with the rest of the most dangerous people in the whole wide world.
Let's be very clear. The assassination attempts on that one were an inside job. We know this because it was his people. And I am not surprised because and I'm not surprised that they chose JD Vance, because here's the other thing. They chose JD Vance for a reason, because of his age. JD Vance is younger than all of the other people in the cabinet, aside from the walking, talking KKK Caroline Levitt. JD Vance is of an age where nobody in any other position feels they have a need to respect anything he has to say. So they will pull his puppet strings. Put it this way: if his own boss posted a picture of him as a fat Cabbage Patch Kid to his social media, it tells you his own boss doesn't even respect him, right? So you know there's no camaraderie there, right? So yeah, everything Lala said is true, but I don't see where. Let's put it this way: this immigration thing, it's not of Trump's making. Stephen Miller is pushing all the buttons behind, because guess what? The reports are saying this. They started with 3,000 people a day. They're now at 7,000 people a day. For them to do 7,000 people a day means, we know it, uncategorically, they're taking people who are not criminals. That's why they're showing up to workplaces. That's why they are deceiving people and telling people to show up to hearings that aren't happening. They're lying to people. So this is bigger than Trump. That's why they got people like Tulsi Gabbard in there lying about evidence.
Do I have your permission to interrupt?
Huh?
Do I have your permission?
Go ahead.
No problem. Catch up on some comments, and I got some more questions for both of you. Regina says 25% of the GOP supported Nixon after he resigned, so I always put MAGA diehards at the same percentage. Do not waste time on these fools, but 75% of Americans are waking up. Free Will says minimum wage can hardly fill going back and forth to work. And Being says, until people see the truth of this who lineage, we are screwed. Free Will says, Regina, still in the 70s. Free Will says, I heard you, Regina. I'm not dissing. Free Will also says, 47 is a bozo. There, I said it. Free Will says, it's make US, quote, white again. So there, I said it. All right, more questions for you ladies.
Can I just say one thing?
Go ahead.
Minimum wage in Connecticut is $16.35. Minimum wage in Mississippi is $7.25. There you go.
Ouch. Okay, some more questions.
And let me just tell you, Connecticut, all of our federal offices are House seats, Senate seats, Democrat. Democratic governor, supermajority, state house, state senate, Democrat. Mississippi, all theirs, Republican.
Okay, more questions for both you ladies. A democracy relies on public trust in its institutions, including agencies that collect and report economic data. What happens when that trust is shaken?
You don't have a democracy anymore.
There we go.
We don't. Here's the thing. we're acting like we're performing democracy. Like some people on the blue side are performing resistance. We're performing democracy. We're already in authoritarianism.
Okay.
We've been here for a while. It's like people are just in this shock right now and are afraid to admit it, but we're already here. Been here.
But that in itself bothers me, Aisha. It bothers me a lot because
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I honestly feel like, and I say this to my hubby all the time, I feel like we are the ones screaming into the wind. We see this, but you want to just shake the world and say, what the heck is wrong with you? Wake up and do something.
Mm-hmm.
And like everybody is frozen and paralyzed, like they don't have the power. The problem is people want to sit back and complain, and you can complain all day long. But if that's all the you're gonna do, then just sit over there and shut up. Because honestly, we need action, not just words.
You know what? I quoted that minimum wage, and it makes me very sad about people in Mississippi because you know what? When I was in high
Say it
school,
about none of them
listen,
down there.
when I was in
Sorry.
high school in 1991 and got my first job that summer, my minimum wage salary was $4.75 an hour in 1991. Those people aren't making much more than I was making almost 35 years
They're
ago.
making less if you take inflation into account.
Right. Exactly. Minimum wage here is $16.35. These people are making almost $10 less. I mean, granted, the cost of living here is more expensive, but still, those people are. I mean, honestly, think about it. Your people, and granted, we live in a state. We're a union state. The reason that they don't want your people, that's the reason that they don't want you all to be a right to work state. Because if you want a right to work state, your wages would be higher. That's throughout the South. Let me tell you something. That's throughout the South. Those are those slave states. Remember that. Those slave states want to keep you all at slave wages.
But not only that, they also want to keep you in slavery. So let's
Mhm.
interject something right here.
Yeah,
That
let's
was
be very clear about that.
last week. There was leaked. There's a whole conversation between Mitch McConnell and somebody else. I don't even know who he is right now. I can't even figure out who he is. But he strictly said that we need to bring slavery back. And Mitch was like, I don't know. White people might not deal with that. He said, don't worry about it. You get rid of all these immigrants. You enslave them by putting them in the prisons. We get free labor. That's slavery, and that's free. That's the plan.
But isn't that what they're doing with the gerrymandering?
They're already doing it.
They're doing it with the gerrymandering. They're going to make people. They're going to do it by 3/5. I promise you.
We're gonna get.
I'm actually writing. Look, I'm actually working on an article with that because the way that they're doing the gerrymandering, the way I figured it out, it's going to be 3/5. Every third person is going to be split. That's how it's going to happen. I promise you. I'm saying it now. I'm predicting it now, and you know it's going to happen because everything that we say here, they end up doing.
Right. Free Will says in America, there are people still thinking, quote, slavery, unquote, is just a way of life. OMG. Also,
yeah, I lived in South Carolina for 12 years. Yep. Look, I was the African American Affairs coordinator for the South Carolina Commission for Minority Affairs. Yeah.
All right. And he also says, I'm trying to cozy up to Aisha. I didn't think that at all. Says I got
neither did I, right?
once, and I don't want it to happen again. All right. Also, another question.
No, if you really got on my bad side, I would have told you to already.
Okay.
Let me tell you, there's only one person who's ever really, really, really gotten on my bad side ever. And yeah, and that person has been demolished.
Okay. All right. Some other questions on because this is.
Wait, can I tell you guys a side story today?
No, let me get another question. You gotta behave. All right. So financial markets and business depend on reliable labor data. What could be the economic consequences if investors start doubting these numbers?
Dr. Bob, the answer is always going to be the same. Our whole democracy, everything depends on things that work. When things don't work that are important like this, everything is demolished. But that is the point, is to demolish absolutely everything so that they have total power. It doesn't matter what we think. It matters what we do. And unless we do something, it is dead in the water. Dead in the water.
But you know what though? But here is the thing. We're going to come back to this at another time. And we're going to look and we're going to come back to this and ask the same question. Because guess what? These statistics come out every month. And even the person that he puts in is not going to be able to lie. Because eventually people are going to be able to see it. Because people are going to be able to be like, wait, we're losing jobs. I'm losing jobs. He's not going to be able to. Here's how people are going to be are going to see it. When the unemployment numbers go up, the Bureau of the unemployment offices, when people file for unemployment, the states cannot lie about those numbers.
That's right.
States keep their own unemployment data because remember, when people file for unemployment, they don't file to the federal government. They file with their state.
Yeah.
So the states will report their own data. And when states report their data to the federal government might lie about that. But somebody is going to say, well, they're lying because this state unemployment number are this state's this, and this. And what you're going to find is that the red states are going to suffer the most.
All right. Let me just
and let me be very clear. Those numbers are going to be the greatest between December and February because either right before the holidays, they're going to be bad, or right after the seasonal employees get fired, they're going to be bad.
Right. Free Will says Lala is right. Gotta have teeth when we bite.
Yep.
And Enlightened Being says, LOL, sorry, Dr. Vibe. Same answer. We're screwed unless we fight. So then behind every jobs report are real people. Families,
Exactly.
hold on, families, workers, job seekers. What message does this event say to them? What happened yesterday?
Well, the thing of it is that it tells them that it sends the same message that it does when he says, oh, well, we just brought in millions and millions of dollars. We just got $500 million from here and, and 200 million here. Where is it? Because here's the thing. Every time he says he brought in this 100 million and this 100 million, I keep asking the same question. Okay, well, where'd it go? Where'd it go? Did you pay the debt with it? Okay, then why did you need to cut Medicaid and SNAP? Where'd it go? Because I think that the next Democratic president, and I do believe that we will have a Democratic president in 2028, or the next Democratic controlled House is going to find out that whatever money has been brought in has gone straight into his pockets.
All these media things have gone into his pockets, right? So
that's what I've been asking. That's what I'm worried about. That's what I'm concerned about. Where's all these deals that he's making?
One at a time. Lala first.
Kennedy
Lala
Space
first.
Center, this, that. He wants to be the president of everything so that he can twist and put the people in who he wants to be in. He's stealing money. He's taking bribes. He's doing whatever he wants to, and we are letting it happen. Period.
Yep. And that's my thing too. That's my thing. The money from CBS, where'd it go? The money from
his
the money
lawsuit.
from Colombia, where'd it go? Where is it going? Because if you're getting that money and then you're not using it to pay down the debt and you're not using it for Medicaid and SNAP, you need to start cutting checks to the American people.
All
And
right.
how about,
That's our
this
money.
new hotline that you can call in to help pay the American debt down? Sure,
Yeah.
that's going to go right to our American debt. It's going to go right into his pocket.
Free Will says, love your show, Dr. Vibe. And
Because
then
here's the thing. Remember, I said this, Jill said this, Lala said this the last term he had, that he was trying to figure out during that first term how to
Yep.
monetize the presidency, because he
Yep.
didn't want to govern. He just wanted to figure out how to monetize running for president. And he was
Yep.
shocked when he won, right? He was shocked when he won. And he couldn't figure out how to monetize it. He's figured it out now.
Mm-hmm. He's had a long time too. And then all of the people around him have showed him how. This is how Musk got involved in the first place.
all right. Free Will says, my issue is not red or blue. It is the players. 47 is a grifter. Those that voted him into office should know, but they don't. SMH.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Last conversation piece on this. Actually, two. Who benefits if the public doubts the accuracy of job reports? Who benefits?
Well, yeah.
Everyone benefit.
I'm sorry, you got me on that one, because
Okay.
it's just the whole thing is a lie. Everything that they do is a lie. So it always benefits him for what he wants, but the American people don't get any benefit at all.
Okay.
We are at a them versus us. And there is no in between. The benefit goes to them. The more that they can grift and keep on to their cult, then the more power they have. And yes, they may be losing a few, but they're still not losing them fast enough to make a difference.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, Free Will says the wealthy class.
I mean, I don't.
Okay.
It's
All right.
It's just so aggravating.
Okay. I know Aisha wants to move on, but I do want to ask one more quick thing about this. How do you think this will affect the upcoming election cycle?
It's not.
It's not.
If he has his way, then we're not going to be able to do anything. But that's what the next part talks about, because
Yeah.
But I just want to finish my thought.
Okay.
Because it goes directly, all roads lead to one point, which is power and authority over other people. So you see, you can't just make a puzzle without pieces.
Right.
All the pieces have to be in place for this plan to work. So this piece can't work if it doesn't fit into the next piece. And if they can't get what they want, then they're going to cheat to get it. This is why the next point is so important. So all of this is just the ball of the confusion and the plan.
Right.
Free Will says them is the wealth class. And Free Will also says he won't have his way. LOL. We'll see about that. All right, let's move to the next conversation piece, our second one of the day and the final one, the gerrymandering of districts in America. Ladies, go for it.
Let me be honest with you. I've had this discussion with other people online on Blue Sky, and the naivete with which people talk about it and saying that, oh, blue states need to start doing this. We need to do this all across the country. Let me just tell you why it won't work. California and New York, it will work because they are big enough states to do it in. The biggest impact, the places that it needs to happen the most are states where it won't happen. It needs to happen in the southern states because that is where the largest populations of Black voters are. Yes, they want to control, in Texas specifically, the largest population of Latino voters. But let's be very clear. The reason a lot of this gerrymandering started is because of the larger concentration of Black voters in the South. This is why we had the Voting Rights Act of 65. And the Voting Rights Act of 65, which was gutted in 2013, the part that was gutted was the part that said the former the former Confederate states, before they had to redraw districts, had to check with the federal government and kind of get permission before they could redraw these districts because they were prone to redrawing them to exclude and disenfranchise their Black voters. That was the part that they did away with in 2013. And people don't seem to realize that is the thing. And because they've been able to do that, they have been able to gerrymander those districts again. Mississippi, remember, in 2022, Mississippi famously gerrymandered their districts. The Supreme Court told them, no, you can't do that. And what did Mississippi do? They gave the Supreme Court the middle finger and said, we're going to do it anyway. Well, Texas is about to do it anyway. And the reason why this is such a big political hot button now is not just that they're going to gerrymander it and because Trump is telling them to. First of all, a president is not supposed to interfere in a state thing, but they're doing it in an off number year. Every 10 years, states get to redistrict because of the census. The census comes out, states know what their populations are, and every district has about 750,000 people in it. So they do it by populations. Some states gain a seat, some states lose a seat. California is going to call a special session to do theirs. And every state has laws in their constitution in terms of how they do their districting. So Texas calls a special session. California can do the same. New York is going to do it, but they have to create a special amendment in order to do it over 2 sessions. So they wouldn't even be able to do theirs until 2027. Okay. So it's not going to do anything before the 2028 election. But again, in order for us to pick up like 40 seats, we lost 40 seats because they did this in 2013, after 2013. And they did it in the southern states. The reason, like, for example, if we did it in just the blue states, well, guess what? You come to Connecticut, redistricting doesn't make a difference because guess what?
Right.
All of our seats are blue. All 6 congressional seats are blue.
Right.
Both Senate seats are blue. It doesn't make a difference. Massachusetts, you pretty much are the same way. And guess what? They're like, well, what about Oregon? Well, Oregon, guess what? Of all their seats, only what, 1 is Republican. Same thing with Colorado, like only 2 are Republican. Doesn't make a difference. But you talk about something like South Carolina that has 6 congressional districts, only 1 is Democrat, and that's Jim Clyburn's. And so that's the place where it's going to make a difference if they redraw that. Because guess what? In South Carolina, of 5 million people, 2 million are African American.
Okay, do I have permission to interrupt you? Okay, so comments first. Regina says gerrymandering usually happens in red states. If Republicans don't cheat, they don't win. Light Being says exactly, Regina. Free Will says naivete. Nice choice of words. Also, in the South is the most, quote, docile, unquote. Enlightened Being says California said, oh, really? Yikes, checkmate. And Free Will says Negroes in Mississippi are extremely docile. Supremacy was seared in the mind. Believe me, my tour has me in Georgia. Before we go any further, ladies, some people may not know, what is gerrymandering?
It's when they redraw a district such that it dilutes the population of a certain type of voter so that one type of voter has a larger percentage. So for example, I'll take South Carolina, for example, because I do know how they would regerrymander that. Columbia, South Carolina, smack in the middle of of the state. That is the Democratic hub, right? All around it are the Republican congressional districts. If you were to gerrymander that 6th congressional district, and that is actually District 6, you would cut into it by drawing District 1 into it, slicing out part of it for District 2, slicing out part for District 4, 5, and 3. And then District 6 would no longer exist. That's what it is. And I disagree with what Will says, because I actually went to Mississippi and I presented at the 50th anniversary conference for the Emmett Till trial. And you got to remember, Fannie Lou Hamer came out of Mississippi. And it's not that the people in Mississippi are docile. The white people in Mississippi are more evil. But but I will tell you this. I'll tell you this. There's a lot more corruption among the black people in Mississippi than there are other places. Yeah, and on that part, LaLa knows there's more corruption among the black people in Mississippi that have power.
LaLa, anything you want to tell?
Listen, it's always the ones that like to holler, like the dogs holler. Like, well, what a hit dog is gonna holler is what my dad used to say. In the fact that immediately they start hollering with all this cheating things, but that's only because when they don't win and get their way, they're going to turn around and do the exact same thing that they're accusing other people of. I don't care if it's religion. I don't care if it's homosexuality. I don't care if it's stealing your next door neighbor's TV. The one who does all the accusations is the one who's the guilty one.
Mm-hmm.
The way that they're doing this, and we all know Texas and Florida and all those other states are totally dedicated to kissing the ring. So therefore, they know their power and they know where they stand when it comes to getting Trump what he wants. So the fact that they're redrawing these districts is they are proving that they're going to make sure that they fall in line with the plan. And the plan is the plan. We know what the plan is. I'm not going to rehash it every week. We know what the plan is. But here's what's very interesting. You have people like Jasmine Crockett, who is just working so hard. I'm wondering if the lady is even sleeping. But the way they redrew the districts, she wouldn't even be living in the district that she represents. What does that show you? They don't care as long as they get what they want. Yep. So I'm hoping and praying that Newsom already said, okay, go ahead and do that, because we're going to do it too. And we're going to make sure that it's fair and balanced. I'm hoping that New York gets online with that as well. Because we're going to need the powerful states to do that in order to make this rebalance.
Yeah. And let's be very clear, right? The part of it that I don't want anyone to miss is the why Trump is doing it. He knows he's underwater. He knows what he's doing is unpopular, because if he had all the confidence in the world of what he was doing was popular, he wouldn't be worried about losing seats. He's worried about losing seats. He is very worried about losing. He's worried that bill got him screwed. And by the way, I'll say this. It's expensive to live here. You really want to make a difference? It's expensive to live here. Come move to Connecticut, because if 750,000 of you come live here, the cost of living would actually go down, because housing costs would go down, and we would gain a congressional seat, which would be Democratic. Just saying.
All right. Some more comments.
We got great schools, but yeah.
Free Will says
one congressional seat.
Free Will says, right, I'm listening. Enlightened Being says, it's cheating, plain and simple.
Yep.
Regina says, Crockett and other Dems, Texas represents, were taken out of their home bases. She said they asked for their addresses just before changing the district lines. Free Will says, good point, Aisha. Also says, take New York City, for example. Aisha, Negroes there are dangerous. And also, he says, 47 is a brand name. There's no profit in it, especially since 2020, especially in
Oh,
2026.
wait, Democratic Texans. Okay, move to Connecticut. Actually, Democrats in Texas, move. That's what you do. If
I'm
the
still trying to figure out why
if the
people are still going to
population
court.
drops, guess what? If the population drops in Texas, they lose a seat. So if they can't gerrymander, if Texas's population drops, they lose a seat and they can't gerrymander. Move. That is
But I
actually
also want to bring out
that's
a really
actually the
another
solution.
point that is really important to understand, because people were standing up for their rights down there. Texans were standing up for themselves. That includes some Republicans who also came to these meetings prepared
Mhm.
to fight for themselves and to really be like, what are y'all doing? You're bowing down. And they literally said that, you're bowing down. Everyone kept asking, where is the map? Where is this proposed map that you keep trying to tell us about? Well, we haven't really drawn it yet, right?
Mhm.
But then the next day, after all those meetings, the map suddenly appears. So
Because
once
they had that
again,
map in
behind the
their back
curtain.
pocket.
Yep. And so it was once again another move, the wizard behind the curtain. They had this plan all along, and they're going to slam it through whether people want it or not.
This was also part of Project 2025.
Yep.
I'm just going to remind people that we said this before. This is
Yeah.
part of Project 2025. But you know what wasn't part of Project 2025? Moving. I'm just going to say it again. If you can't afford, I know people can't afford to, but the way that we also shift things and change things in this country, the red states, when they lose population, they lose control. That is how we have to. I mean, I hate to say it for people, but guess what? There are so many ways that people can work remotely. So you can literally work in a red state, but you don't have to live there. But I think the way that we change this, for example, is changing where people are located. I know, I think, and I'm like, Will made the comment, and I'm like, well, I have two. Most of my adult life, I have two. But the thing is that I've lived in red states, but I always come back to the blue. So I think that I think that's how we're going to have to start living, because we're going to have to start living our politics in this time. And
No way to live.
it's no way to live.
Look at that.
It's
That
no
is
way to
no
live.
way to live. If
It's
that's
no
our
way to live.
solution, that is no way to live.
It is no way to live. But
All right.
it is the situation we're in.
Hey,
Yeah.
Freewill says, I don't have a problem with Jasmine Crockett, he says.
Mhm.
Regina says, my indivisible group is organized in New York to confront Hochul, to gerrymander upstate New York, and to raise taxes on the rich and the corporations. We need to get more money to make up for the federal cuts. Very true. And Freewill,
That's actually Regina. She was on MSNBC the other night, and that's how I knew about the process. She was explaining that it took a state it took an amendment to the state constitution to do the actual whole thing, and that's why she said they're planning to do it, but it won't take effect till 2028.
okay. And Freewill says, I've moved all my life, Aisha. So you already made
Yeah.
that right there. Okay. So how have recent Supreme Court decisions affected the fight against gerrymandering?
Like I said, they gutted the Voting Rights Act. There's nothing there to protect. Let me be very clear. The Voting Rights Act really was there to protect people, to protect the rights of people. The things that it protected people against were the poll taxes. It protected people from having to do things like guess how many jelly beans were in a jar.
Yeah.
The things that they're not able to do, the laws that they put in place now, the voter ID laws, it protected against that. It protected against the laws like you can't give people water or snacks while they're waiting in line. It protected against against creating laws like that.
Free Will says, I'm in the South right now. And he says, give it to me, laugh emojis. I still don't have a problem with Texas representative. Okay. Let me ask then, can gerrymandering affect the outcome of elections even if the majority votes for one party?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Always.
Yes.
Always. And the problem with gerrymandering in this country is that gerrymandering always favors the Republican Party, because that's why
All
they
the
always,
time. All the
because
time.
they're the ones that always do it.
Okay. And then
Look, for example, Florida.
too bad Dr. Tachi isn't here. She could certainly speak to
Because
that.
Florida has been gerrymandered to death.
All right. What are the
And you know why Florida not only gerrymandered itself to death, Florida re-gerrymandered itself, you know when? After 2000. After they had to decide, after the Supreme Court had to decide on the federal election, Florida went and re-gerrymandered itself. So that didn't happen again.
So what are the social or psychological impacts on communities that find themselves split or packed into districts?
They feel hopeless. So therefore, now they get into their heads and thinking it's the voting is not going to matter anyway. There are a lot of people who are still on the fence about voting, period, and even feeling like that their vote counts. But when things like this happen, they feel defeated. And so it's really the battle of the mind more than anything.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's another way. It's another way of control. You know, it's another way of control. And let's be very clear. The reason that they focus on Texas first is because Texas has the largest Latino population in the country.
Yes.
40%. 40%. Okay? Like the population of Mississippi black was like 30%, 38%, 40%.
So then let me ask either of you, with all this on.
And here's the other thing. Let me be very clear. 40% in Texas. And they're worried because this immigration thing has people upset. Okay, I'm done.
No problem. So what role can technology and data science play in making districts fair or in making gerrymandering worse?
None, because they don't use science and technology to gerrymander at all. They never have. What they use is there's no science behind it. It's purely random.
They look at what side the tracks they're going to start drawing the lines through.
Right.
And all they do is take the data from whatever previous election and publicly what they know. And they literally, y'all, it looks like a zigzag. There is no straight line district. Like, it's not even state lines like we have. It is literally like this.
Well, here's the only data that they use, right? The only data that they use comes from the census and the American Community Survey, right? The ACS. And it by zip code and census tract and US city block, right?
Yep.
So they know who lives on what block. Okay? And that's how they draw the lines. So for example, this block has 8 Hispanics, 4 white people. Okay, so we're gonna make 2 Hispanics here. We'll make carve out 1 here and 3 here, so that there's only 1 Hispanic and 4 whites here, 2 Hispanics and 5 whites here. That is how they do it.
It sounds crazy. Does that sound nuts? It sounds absolutely like
that's how they do it.
Coloring, but that is exactly how it's done.
Yeah.
Wow.
So there's no science to it. The science behind it is racism.
The science behind it is racism. I think that's quite the statement. Free Will says, in the United States, there are many representatives. I don't get where many are coming from. Free Will says Lala is right. Regina says 30% whites in Texas, 40% Latino. Free Will says, Aisha, the immigration thing, let's look at the white vote, not pick fruit from the tree. They're too spoiled. Thanks to redlining.
Oh, and like Regina said, and see, and I think white people have to be reminded. Guess what? Texas used to be Mexico.
Yeah,
Of course, there's going to be more Latino people there.
So
California.
Baja California isn't part of Mexico because it used to not be part of Mexico because California wasn't part. Because stupid Americans don't know freaking history.
So have either one of you felt your vote didn't count because how your district was drawn?
No, because like I said,
our vote didn't count because it was stolen.
No, and I've always lived in blue districts. When I lived in Atlanta, I lived in Atlanta. When I lived in Columbia, South Carolina, I lived in Columbia in Jim Clyburn's district. In Connecticut, I live in Connecticut.
I want to come back to Lala. Your vote was stolen?
My vote was stolen.
What makes you say that?
My vote was stolen. I did a mail-in ballot. And as we're finding things out, a lot of those mail-in ballots were not chosen. And if they have any, not even counted, and if they still have their way, we won't even be able to, if we're traveling, the cruise ships or whatever else, we won't be able to do any of that because they're not going to count our votes. So therefore, my vote is stolen.
And they're talking about not counting the ballots of military people come the next election.
Military people
who are overseas,
who are serving the world for our country.
Yeah. But as we're talking about this gerrymandering thing, I share with you the videos, Dr. Vibe. I think we need to be very clear about something. The more stories are coming out about this, about whether the last election, this man has said on 3 different occasions on videos that the election was rigged for him to win.
All right. Also, question.
And there are videos. You can look it up on YouTube, anybody, and you will see it in his own words. Period.
So is gerrymandering an issue that affects all parties equally, or is it more common among certain groups?
It affects minority voters more. Because guess what? It only started after Black people got the right to vote.
Wow. So for both of you, what do you think? Why is it so difficult to reform the redistricting process?
Because it's only the people who it serves that's going to even be wanting it from the first place. It's nothing. It's never from the people. We the people. It's never we the people. It's always how can we fix this so that we can get the most power, which is always red. Look historically. I'm not speaking no lies. It's always red.
Yep.
When they don't get what they want, that's what they do to get what they want. So it's not people. It doesn't matter what we say. Look at what's going on in Texas. Like I just said, these people are like, we don't want this. But we, the people, don't have the power now because they're just going to slam it through anyway. Period.
Just want to interrupt. Sharon, I want to shout out Sharon Hewitt Jackas. This gives a thumbs up to the conversation. Good to see you. Free Will says, sorry, Dr. Vibe, I forgot the subject. No worry. Free Will says, gerrymandering changes by the polls. So as we end off this conversation point, what's the solution? What are some proposed solutions to this gerrymandering?
Honestly, I think we have to get to it. Well, I don't think that we'll ever get to a point that there will ever be a point in time where we won't see anybody try to gerrymander, because it's nobody in this country, no political party, no group likes to share power. That is the problem. No one likes to share power in this country. And as long as we can't agree on that part, we're always going to have this imbalance.
Lala, any solutions from you?
No. And until we get tired and stop and have the couch people continue to, but then don't do anything. Let's face it, we don't have enough numbers of those of us who are actually in the streets fighting. And and that doesn't necessarily mean that like I'm literally in the streets. Sometimes the way you can fight is quietly, and we've talked about that a lot in this show, which I think is the only way that we're going to have anything done. Because see, the more we're louder there we are, the more they know what we're doing and can checkmate very easily. So until we get ourselves together in the underground, if you can't help, surely the don't hurt. So keep your mouth shut and let those of us who really want to do something get together and take the power back of the American people, because there isn't anything that we could do right now as long as we're just sitting back with inaction.
Wow.
Yeah, agreed.
That's fire. That's fire. That's fire. All right. I think on that last note, Lala has, if you were in the Supreme Court, Lala, we'd say you've struck the gavel.
I like that.
You struck the gavel. You know what? Maybe what we need to do is have both of you bring gavels and bring gavels and just like hit it like da hit it down. All right. So before we go any further, as we start to end up, just give me a quick second. I'm doing something right quick because there's a number of people watching live on YouTube, and I'd like to get their takes on today's conversation.
And while you're typing that in, Sharon, you are watching from my page, so thank you for joining. I really appreciate you coming in. Welcome.
Also, too, want to thank, we had someone watch the whole thing live from Substack. They didn't comment, but I see you, and I've been watching. I see you. All right. As always, or most of the time I do this, sometimes I do forget. If you're watching live on YouTube, would love you to rate the conversation today. 1 meaning 5 meaning it was out of bounds. It was great. Let's say we got some comments here before we shut it down. Cinnamon Canella says, yes, I think you'll probably say the quiet fight is our last hope. Lala, Free Will says Lala is very correct. Cinnamon Canella says, you said it twice and you spelled it wrong twice. So the quiet fight is our last hope. So I'm going to take down the vote thing.
It might be autocorrect. You know, sometimes that autocorrect be fighting you back.
Oh my God.
Free Will says it's a very educational experience from this panel. It always is. Some stories hopefully we can discuss either next week in the upcoming. Yes, we are still on Discord. Yes, we are still on Discord, Cinnamon Canella. I wonder if people want to chat about or hear about next week or in the coming weeks. Kamala Harris saying she is not going to run for president.
Yeah.
No, she didn't say that. She said governor.
Governor.
But I'm still saying, yay. Rest, my queen. Rest.
Yes. But she does have a book coming out about some stuff.
And then also the Corporation for Public Broadcasting is going to be shutting down. So we'll probably get to those stories next week amongst all the other stuff that's going on. But let me just show people right quick people's votes. And this seems to be becoming a trend, 100%.
Yay!
So we like that. All right. As always, we like to say thank you to the ladies for giving their time, their most valuable thing to hang out with us. And first things first, how can we get a hold of Lala?
I made it really easy because, you know, think all those websites sometimes just get under your skin. So you can find everything about me on my website, which is laurakey.net. And I'm also doing a series that is aimed to help take care of you. And it's called Finding Your Soul's Voice. And you can find that on YouTube. You'll find that on my website as well. But it literally is a 12-week series about taking care of you and living the life that you want. We talk about everything that is going on in our country, but I don't want you to forget that you have a life purpose. And if you're not walking in that life purpose, then what are you really here for? You can't wake up every single day and be upset. You can't roll over and see if the world is falling apart, because the world's not going to get any better if you don't take care of you. So please go to my website at laurakey.net, check that out, and also some great free resources there as well.
Thank you, Lala. And I actually want you maybe next show to give a little bit of description of the course and that thing.
Sure.
I think you justified. All right. And again, happy anniversary.
Thank
All
you.
right. Aisha K, talk to us.
You can find me on Instagram at AK Staggers, on Medium at AishaKStaggers.medium.com, Blue Sky, AKStaggers.bsky.social, Friend of Media, friendomedia.com. Got actually 2 new pieces up there. And actually find them on their Substack and on my Substack at Aisha K Staggers. And yeah.
All right. Good. And then there's myself. How do you get a hold of me? Website, the drvibeshow.com, YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn, The Dr. Vibe Show, Instagram at the drvibeshow, X/Twitter at drvibeshow, email dr.vibe at the drvibeshow.com. Also, you can catch me on Substack at drvibe.substack.com/subscribe. And again, thank you for the person who watched on Substack today. And also, we're starting to post replays of this epic conversation on Substack. And people are watching the replays on Substack. And also, I'm notifying Aisha and LaLa when they go up. And also, Blue Sky at drvibes.bsky.social. And TikTok at the drvibe.vibe. _VIBESHOW. All right. We have a few more final comments. Oh, you can also watch replays of this epic conversation on the Dr. Vibe Show website, also Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. I'm going to probably have to change that. Also, Substack coming too, and on the website. Now, some final comments, and people are already getting ready for next week's conversation. Some more comments. Regina says, I think bootleg was right. The administration's mess will be replaced by a much smarter system in the future. Had a very interesting interview this week on NPR with him. If you have a chance, check it out. Cinnamon Canella says, yes, PBS is very sad. It's my favorite TV channel. Free Will says, beautiful presentation, Dr. Vibe, sincerely. Thank you very much. Regina says, I think PBS will survive, but NPR may not. Not enough people listening to radio anymore. Thanks for a great show. As usual, Aisha LaLa and Dr. Vibe. Love y'all. But a lot of people listen to NPR online. A lot. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, what's the name of their morning show? Can't remember, but their morning show is regarded as one of the most listened to news programs online. So, you know what? I feel bad. I should have. What's the name of the PBS morning show? Someone tell me. I forget. Let's see if I can. I'm going to pull it up here because it's bothering me now. It's bothering me. I got maybe some. No. Okay. More comments. This was a passionate show. Enlightening Being says it always probably says is, but when LaLa gets hot, woo, stand back. You can feel that fire. Free Will says, Aisha, scare me to tears. I'm playing Alicia. Regina says, LaLa, enjoy the leftover lasagna if there's any. Free Will says, thank you, Dr. Vibe. Appreciate visiting. It's gonna bug. Morning Edition. That's the name of the NPR show. But with Steve Inskeep, who has been at that post of Morning Edition for probably about 20 years. Long time gentleman on that show. Aisha Stagger says, my nephew says, auntie scare him. LOL. Regina Ferris says, all things considered, that's their afternoon show. And Cinnamon Canella says, A1. All right, we are done. Live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get smaller, get stronger. Block assumptions. Aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. Love, faith, and respect. Don't just manage your time, manage your energy. Remember to give yourself grace. And if you're not making money, make history, but try to do both. And as always, thank you to producer Matt for keeping it flowing and keeping it going. We'll see you somewhere on these digital streets. God bless. Peace be all. Keep the faith. Walk good. Take care, everybody.
To understand how afraid I am of any member of the rodent family that's down to squirrels and chipmunks. Okay? I cannot stand all members of the rodent family. Rabbits, bunnies, no. What else is going on that day? I mean, is there something we're supposed to be doing?
Why are you going there? Why are you going there? You know I'm going to ask you. It falls the same day as the inauguration of the new president.
The what? Excuse me? I'm sorry.
So in other words, Monday.
So onesies. Now, folks, don't ever think you're going to see us all on a show with onesies on. Don't do that.
You might see me. You might see me.
You'll see me and you'll see me and Lala because we oftentimes wear ours.